Hi there, and welcome to Apply, the platform that lets you create custom features fast and without code. I'm going to show you how to build a simple add-on that sends data from one app to another, starting with this example here. This is a button that I've added to my Gmail messages, and when I click on it, I see this interface that's automatically filled in with the name of the sender. I can add a comment, and when I hit save, the feature saves the email address of the sender along with the name from the interface in my comment to a spreadsheet in Google Sheets. Before we get started, a quick word about this player. At the end of each section, it'll disappear, giving you a chance to complete that step. You can also pause it at any time, and when you hit play, it'll pick up where you left off. Finally, you can minimize it so that it plays in the background while you perform actions in the app. Let's practice. I'll pause the player, and when you're ready, hit play and we'll continue. Welcome back. Let's start building that Gmail feature that saves messages to Google Sheets. I've prepared a spreadsheet with columns for the sender's email, sender's name, and comments, and you can build something similar or use one of your existing spreadsheets. From Ply's web app, click on New Feature, then click Add-on, and then choose Gmail as the app you want to add an add-on to. Then connect your Gmail account. Account connections let Ply perform actions in your apps. They're kept safe and they can be reused in other features. Now choose the context for your feature. The context determines where the button that triggers your feature will be added and what data from that app your feature will be able to use. Since I want to use the name and email address of the sender, I'm going to choose the message context. Go ahead and create an add-on in Gmail, then connect your account and choose the message context. Once you've done that, play the next clip before going to Gmail. Now let's go to Gmail. In Gmail, you'll see indicators that you need to click on to create your button. Notice that the message whose indicator you click on will be used as sample data. So if I click on this indicator, I'll use this message's data, and if I click on this indicator, I'll use this message's data as I set up my feature. Make sure to click on an indicator on a message that has all the data that you want to use in your feature. I'll choose this one, and now I design what my button looks like. I can choose from any of these icons, and I can search for an icon for Google Sheets that I can make green if I want. And I can also give my button a tooltip that appears when I hover over it, like Save Sender to Sheets. And when I'm happy with how my button looks, I'll click Save and open Builder. Go ahead and go to Gmail now, choose a message as sample data, and design your button. You'll see the player again here in the builder. This is the feature builder, where you set up what your feature does. A feature is built like a workflow, which is a series of steps that happen one after another whenever the feature gets triggered. And the first step is the trigger step, clicking on the button that we just added to Gmail messages. The second step will be added automatically, and it gets data on the contextual message, the message whose button was clicked on. What happens after that depends on what steps you add. Steps in Ply come in three types. There are user-facing steps that show the user an interface or a mini app. Then there are integration steps that perform actions in other apps. And finally, there are helper steps that manipulate data or add conditional logic. Let's start by adding the interface where the user edits the name of the sender and types their comments. So click here to create an interface. And now, in this blank interface canvas, click on the title to edit it. Let's call this Save Sender to Spreadsheet. Go ahead and create your interface and title it Save Sender to Spreadsheet. Now let's start setting up the parts of the interface that the user will interact with. These are called blocks, and Ply has many of them, including input blocks where the user can enter a value, and a search block that lets the user search through data and their other apps. Let's add a text input block and call it name, since it'll be filled in automatically with the name of the sender. To set that up, click here on the prefill switch, and clicking into this field pulls up Ply's data mapper. The data mapper lets you map data from previous steps into the current step. All of the data on the message whose button was clicked on is found in step 2, which gets data on that message. Scrolling through here, you can see the body of the message, the date that it was sent, and the name of the sender. That's what we want to fill into this field, so I'll click on that. Go ahead and add a text input block to your interface and pre-fill it with the name of the sender, found in step number 2. Now let's add a second text input block, this time called comments, and I'm going to make this one a long text input block. Go ahead and do that now. I'm going to put a finishing touch on this interface. I'll scroll down to the purple Done button and change the text to Save. Now that the interface is ready, I'm going to test it. Every step that you add to your features workflow needs to be tested, which means running it once with sample input and getting sample output. To do that for this interface, I'm going to click this blue button down here and fill in all the fields. When I hit save, I see sample output for the step that I can use as I set up later steps. Go ahead and edit your interface is done button and then test your interface. Now I'm going to add the last step in the features workflow, which adds a row to Google Sheets. So I'm choosing Google Sheets from the list of integrations and choosing the action add a row and connecting my Google Sheets account. Here, I'm going to look for the spreadsheet and worksheet where I want the row to be added, which is this one. And notice that this worksheet has the column headers sender's email, name, and comments. After I select my contact spreadsheet and the worksheet that has those columns, I'll see the column headers for my worksheet. Now I need to map data into these fields to make sure that it ends up in the right columns here in my spreadsheet. So for the sender's email, I want to map a piece of data from the contextual data, specifically the email address of the sender. So I'll scroll through here and look for the address of the person that the email is from and insert that into this field. I'm going to map the sender's name from the interface since the user might make some changes to what came in from the contextual data. And finally, the comments are going to come directly from the interface as well. Now that I've set up this step, I'm going to test it, and this is actually going to add a row to my Google Sheet. Here it is. So go ahead and choose the spreadsheet that you want to add a row to, and map data from the contextual data and from the interface into your columns. So here's our finished feature added to Gmail messages. It's triggered by a button, then it gets data on the contextual message, shows the user an interface, and then adds a row to Google Sheets. Click Publish to add this feature to all messages in Gmail. And at any time, you can click on our in-app help to chat with us or learn more about building your own features in the docs or in our guided tutorials. Thanks for watching.